The first time someone tried to steal my house, they showed up in khakis and name badges, like it was a neighborhood potluck and not a hostile takeover. I thought it was a joke at first. You would have laughed too. Turns out nothing is funnier than realizing people will try to own you with paperwork. I'd just moved into the place, 6 acres tucked into the suburbs outside Atlanta, the kind of land that makes you feel like you accidentally inherited oil money. Long, private drive, white fence sycamores lining the asphalt. Quiet. Too quiet, honestly. The previous owner had been a paranoid ex-lawyer who built the bones of a fortress. I didn't tear that down. I upgraded it. See, I work in security. When you do that long enough, you stop believing in safe neighborhoods. I installed layered sensors, biometric locks, solar backups, AI cameras, the works. Not because I was scared, because I knew how fast things go sideways when you assume you're fine. What I didn't expect was the first threat showing up with HOA letterhead. It started small. Pamphlets in the mailbox welcoming me to a community I'd never joined. I tossed them. Then a glossy welcome packet showed up, rules about curtains, flagpoles, holiday lights capped at 10 lumens. 10. My toothbrush glows brighter than that. I checked my deed twice. No HOA. My attorney had already confirmed it. The property had been carved out decades ago, legally independent. I wasn't just not in their club, I was specifically excluded. So I ignored them. That's when the phone calls started. One night, 1:16 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number, then another. Then another. 60 missed calls in 20 minutes. You know that feeling when your stomach drops because you assume someone died? That was the only reason I picked up. A guy introduced himself like he was ordering coffee. Said I needed to open my gate and hand over access codes. Said the community required full entry privileges. I laughed. Told him I wasn't in their HOA. He hung up. 30 seconds later, my cameras pinged. 2 guys at my gate windbreakers with the HOA logo, like mall cops who discovered clipboards. I hit the intercom, told them to leave. They didn't. So I called the non-emergency police line. An officer showed up. Calm, tired, already halfway done with the situation before it started. He asked if I could just work it out with the board. I remember thinking this is how it begins. Not with violence, with indifference. They left that night. But the way the officer looked at me, not apologetic, not aggressive, just annoyed I didn't roll over. That stuck with me. Next morning I got a thick envelope. Official-looking heavy paper, lots of seals. It claimed I was in violation of community rules, said I'd illegally installed my own gate, said I needed to provide keys for inspections. They even cited a revised covenant that applied retroactively. Retroactively. Like they were rewriting history with Microsoft Word. I called the title agent. She confirmed again I wasn't in their jurisdiction. Never had been. I sent the HOA a polite email telling them to back off. That's when escalation became their favorite word. Voicemails. Flyers near my driveway calling me a security risk. Someone left a note on my windshield at the grocery store telling me I wasn't above the community. You ever watch something spiral slowly and realize you're the center of it? Like a storm forming around your mailbox? That's when I hired a lawyer. Mara Pike. Civil liberties bulldog. Gravel voice, caffeine soul. She read everything and said one sentence I'll never forget. They're trying to absorb you. Not sue me, not fine me, absorb me like a parasite that sends you the bill. I started documenting everything. Cameras, folders, timestamps. If they wanted a war of paperwork, I was going to out-archive them. Then came the night they crossed the line. 2:27 a.m. perimeter alert. I checked the feed, 2 guys climbing my fence. One of them was the HOA vice president. The other I'd already seen lurking around before. They weren't knocking. They were heading straight for my basement utility entrance. I called the police again. Calm voice, precise words. Trespass in progress. Live footage time-stamped. When I flipped on the floodlights, they froze like raccoons in a kitchen. And then the same officer showed up. Same slow walk, same tired face. The HOA guys claimed they had authorization. Claimed I'd signed a maintenance request. One of them handed over a piece of paper with my name and signature on it. I'd never seen it before. I told the officer it was forged. He folded it, slipped it into his pocket like a grocery receipt, and basically said nobody was pressing charges tonight. He let them walk. That was the moment something shifted in me. Not rage, not fear, just clarity. This wasn't a misunderstanding, it was a system. By morning, my gate had been sabotaged. Wires cut, control pad gone. My security contractor showed up confused, said they'd received a work order from me asking them to dismantle the system. It came from my email, my signature, my tone. I never sent it. $18,000 in damage, and suddenly the paranoia stopped feeling dramatic. It felt appropriate. Up until then, I'd been playing defense, locks, reports, patience. That morning I stopped. I rebuilt everything. Stronger gate, deeper encryption, hidden redundancies, cameras that didn't just watch my property, they watched the street, watched the watchers. And while all that was happening, I got a letter from the county planning office. The HOA had filed paperwork to expand their boundaries to include my land. Attached was a consent form, signed by me, except they misspelled my name and used an old zip code I hadn't lived in for years. It would have been funny if it wasn't terrifying how close that might have worked. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. An older woman showed up at my gate one afternoon. Janet, 71, sweet voice, shaking hands. She told me she'd paid thousands in backdated HOA dues because they threatened a lien on her house. Her consent form was forged too. We sat on my porch while she told me everything. That's when I realized I wasn't the first target. I was just the loudest. That night I put everything online. Anonymous blog, redacted docs, timeline, no theatrics, just receipts. Within days, people started reaching out. More homeowners, same pattern, fake signatures, retroactive fees, threats. It wasn't harassment, it was a business model. And once you see a pattern, you can't unsee it. Then a package showed up in my mailbox. No return address. Inside was a USB drive and a note saying the sender used to work inside the HOA. Told me not to trust local cops. I plugged it into a burner laptop. Emails, spreadsheets, internal plans, a file literally listing properties as integration targets. My name had a tag next to it, hostile engage via compliance route. And buried in the emails, the smoking gun. Messages about faking my consent even after I refused. A county official helping push paperwork through. That's when the scale hit me. This wasn't petty corruption, it was organized. We filed complaints everywhere. State agencies, federal offices, every door that might open. And suddenly doors did open. Investigators called, journalists called. People who had ignored polite complaints started paying attention once the evidence stacked high enough. Funny how truth needs volume before anyone listens. The house of cards started wobbling. The HOA got quiet. Real quiet. That eerie silence you get right before something breaks. Then the subpoenas started flying. Emails seized. Accounts frozen. Officials questioned. Turns out the HOA had been pulling in hundreds of thousands through fake memberships and fines. Money routed into private pockets, campaign donations, even payouts to a certain police officer who kept showing up at my gate. Yeah, that part hit different. The hearing was surreal. Rows of suits, federal SEALs, cameras outside like vultures waiting for a carcass. I wore black. Not for drama, just felt right. One by one, the evidence spilled out. Forged documents, fake votes, dead homeowners listed as signatories, money trails leading everywhere they shouldn't, testimony from neighbors. Stories that sounded small alone but together formed something ugly and undeniable. Then audio recordings played. Voices of people who thought they were untouchable, talking about forging signatures like it was clerical work. Talking about drowning people in paperwork until they gave up. You ever hear arrogance crack in real time? It's quieter than you'd think. By the end of it, the recommendations were immediate. Federal investigation, board suspended, criminal referrals. Outside the courthouse, cameras everywhere. Reporters shouting questions nobody wanted to answer anymore. A few months later, the dominoes finished falling. Arrests, charges, plea deals, prison time. The officer lost his badge, his pension, everything. I sued them too. Not just the organization, the people. Every name attached to the machine. The settlement was more money than I'd ever planned on seeing tied to my own house. But honestly, the money wasn't the best part. The best part was quiet. No more flyers, no more late-night calls. Just wind through the trees again. Neighbors waving instead of whispering. Janet's garden won an award that year. Victor started writing a book. The neighborhood healed in small, ordinary ways. And me, I put up a sign at the gate. Nothing fancy. Just a reminder carved into metal and mounted where everyone could see it. Because here's the thing I learned, and I learned it the hard way. Most bullies don't start with fists. They start with forms, with rules, with polite letters that slowly tighten until you forget you're allowed to say no. And sometimes the only way to stop that kind of machine is to make it loud. So loud it can't hide behind procedure anymore. So let me ask you something. If someone tried to take what was yours using nothing but paperwork and pressure, no guns, no threats, just systems and silence, how far would you go to fight back? Would you walk away? Or would you burn the whole illusion down and make them answer for it?